And let's come back to the story we covered for you a little bit earlier in the program. A U.S. federal judge dismissing the cases against the former FBI director, James Comey, and the former New York Attorney General, Letitia James. And John, let's start with you here, because the judge said that the prosecutor in this case, Lindsay Halligan, who didn't have prosecutorial experience previous to this case, that she was appointed unlawfully. What do you make of this?
Well, this is really disappointing outcome and certainly a setback for the administration. I believe they're going to appeal it to the Fourth Circuit. So, it's not completely over here. But I think what's going on here, and this is something President Trump has voiced his opposition to, is there's a rule called blue slip rules, which essentially gives veto rights to the home state U.S. senators in that given jurisdiction, which would be the Eastern District of Virginia, meaning there are Democrats as senators who would never confirm President Trump's pick for U.S. attorney. And so when whoever he nominated, unless it was a Democrat, likely wouldn't be confirmed by the Senate, which really was a rock between a hard place, meaning if Lindsay brought this case forward, she was going to run the risk of being overturned here. It's, again, disappointing, but kind of left with not many cards and not much of a choice, given the statute of limitations for her time that she was appointed. I think she had a mere hours to file this case.
Tamia, what do you think?
I mean, her being unlawfully appointed is already, to me, it's on brand with this administration, right? Like, there are people who are in all kinds of they're unqualified in a lot of high profile positions. So to see that, it was not surprising, but also relieving. The president has lately been, he makes it a story, a case for him to go after those that he perceives are his political enemies. And when people like the Attorney General, Letitia James, hold him accountable, then all of a sudden now he's trying to indict her. So I'm glad for the outcome. But also when you have a faulty process like this, it makes sense. So I'm grateful to see that this was thrown out in the way that it was.
John, coming back to you, you talked about the time that Lindsay Halligan had to prepare this indictment that she had brought forward. At the same time, the previous prosecutor, we understand, was dismissed, Eric Siebert, because he said he didn't have enough evidence to be able to bring this indictment, to bring these charges. Could it be that the administration simply doesn't have enough of a case here?
Well, I'm not definitively sure about that. Pam Bondi, who blessed this indictment, obviously believes otherwise. Then the line prosecutor was dismissed. Also disagree. Prosecutorial discretion is a point of contention in any prosecutor's office, whether it's the federal prosecutors, district attorney prosecutors. So there was a difference of opinion here. I believe the judge didn't rule on the merits of the facts of the case. It was more procedural in nature. So I'm still going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Department of Justice on the merits of the case. But it looks like if they don't win on appeal, statute of limitations will have run, and Comey and James will be off the hook on this one.
Yeah, Tamia, where do you think this heads next? Because the White House has said in a statement to the BBC as well, the last word on this has not been spoken.
Yes, I think they may try it again. They may try to appeal. I wouldn't be surprised given this administration and particularly this Justice Department. But again, I think they're just going to also find, even if they do procedurally do this right, that there's nothing there. There's no there. And that they just need to move on and actually focus on what matters to the American people, which is lowering grocery prices and making other things more affordable.
John, what do you think about that argument that President Trump, his administration, should move on, maybe focus on some of the other issues that Americans are more concerned about?
I think there's a good point in the sense that the president, with all these other things, whether it's foreign policy, potential violations of criminal law, does need to focus on the economic and domestic agenda. I mean, that's really an important thing. But at the same time, the Department of Justice is there to enforce the law. And if they found that there have been criminal violations, they have a duty to prosecute those things. But I think President Trump can't lose sight of the big picture, which our other commentator just brought up, which is, gas prices, grocery prices. I mean, those are very important. Home buying prices, that's arguably more important.
Okay, John and Tamia, thank you so much for your thoughts tonight.
Thank you.